Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to take some time and look at social media users crying about fan service. And when I say social media users, I mean more specifically Zoomers, because Zoomers absolutely hate fan service and they hate anything in media that contains it. Now let's start with this thread right here. So it says, a thread of comparison between the webcomic and manga of One Punch Man. Of course, this character is Tatsumaki, and you can see the glow up between the webcomic and the manga. Now, seeing a fully clothed anime girl, how do you think social media is going to respond to this? Well, not very well. As pointed out by this user saying, I see One Punch Man is going around. I'm sure people are being absolutely normal about it. Yeah, let's see some of these screenshots they collected of people being normal about this completely innocuous set of frames. This user saying, I would normally quote this tweet saying that we should kill Murata with hammers, but they remove circles, so I'm not sure what to do now. And of course, they have the wrong now. Zoomers and grammar, it's going to be a common theme in today's video, but nonetheless, if you don't know what a circle is, it's a feature they recently removed from Twitter. Private circles were a thing that you could tweet and you could select who can see it, like specific people, typically like your friends, right? And this person's admitting that they have like these very impulsive thoughts and that they have to share these threats. But normally they could hide their account by making them in their circles so they wouldn't get reported. But now that circles are removed, they have like these impulsive thoughts they don't know what to do with. So they're like, I have to make my threats online. But now they're risking the most important thing in their life, and that is their Twitter account. And it just leads to this very funny tweet here, which is definitely not alarming in regards to the person making this tweet. But nonetheless, here's another tweet, this one saying, forever weird that they needed to over-sexualize everyone, including the one who looks like a literal child. Now, this tweet is filled with a lot of projection. Number one, this user, like many on social media, see a fully clothed anime girl and immediately think it's being sexualized. Remember, these are the people who normally call anime fans and anyone who likes fictional characters, they call them porn addicts and weirdos and coomers and all that sort of stuff, all those buzzwords. And yet, here they are looking at a fully clothed thing and thinking it's sexualized. I think that's a bit of projection on their behalf. But also, speaking of projection, again, calling this a literal child, again, Zoomers not knowing what literal is, but again, projection because they see what I believe is a 28-year-old fictional character, and their first instinct is to think of children. That's a bit of a weird self-report, but we see that all the time with users like this. Let's move on to this one saying, Murata is going to hell. I love his art, but why you gotta do Tatsumaki like that? Looking at this feels like I'm being sexually harassed. I got nothing. I got nothing. They stumped me, dude. I got no response to this. This user saying, I need him to die. Oh my god. Referring to the mangaka. Now, of course, it's always funny seeing these Weenie Hut Jr. levels of threats where they feel comfortable making a threat online, but then they censor themselves because they're so afraid of their account getting reported that they think in their minds this is going to avoid this tweet being reportable, which is not the case, by the way. Censoring it like this does not escape consequences. You can still get reported for this just as if you had typed out the word die normally. But it's very odd. Okay, number one, totally normal reaction to manga panels. But yeah, it just goes to show their accounts are so important to them, but they can't contain these impulsive thoughts and threats. They have to say them knowing full well they're risking something very important to them, and that is their Twitter accounts. But moving on, I think this post really sums up a lot of what we're talking about today. So, and I've seen this meme about 500 times, but it starts by saying, you start watching an series and really gets interested into the characters and plot. There's multiple grammatical errors in only about 10 words here. I mean, it's embarrassing. This tweet is made every single week. People use the same joke and meme format here, complaining about fan service. and they couldn't even get the one that has the correct grammar. Like, it's ridiculous. We need to shut down schools and figure out what's going on with Zoomers and why their grammar is so bad. But nonetheless, it goes on to say, but they ruin it with uncomfortable scenes, fan service, and unhilarious sexual jokes, and makes you less motivated in watching it. This is my face trying to read this meme. Like, it's a tough one, but what they're saying is they watch a series, get invested, and then there's sexual themes and it ruins it for them. Which is very, very funny to me that sexual themes existing in a piece of media is that important to them that it literally ruins it for them. That's just a very strange thing. But nonetheless, the level of narcissism in tweets like this is very common amongst Zoomers and a lot of social media users. They believe all media should be tailor-made to their interests. The mature thing to do when you see themes in media you don't like is to respect it and just not consume it and understand that other people might like it. Social media users expect media to revolve around them. That's why we see Zoomers complaining about anime and wanting it censored and changed and to remove things like fan service because they want the medium to cave to their needs instead of simply watching a different series that doesn't contain fan service or consuming another medium and things like that. Rather than have that healthy, mature response, they want the whole thing to change to cater to their needs. And I think it's really reflected in this thread. 15,000 likes on this thread, by the way, saying mangakas and their worst manga pages/panels. A thread. And they start off with Oda from One Piece. Now, of course, I'm going to spoil this thread for you. Every single panel contained in this thread of the worst manga panels, every single one is a fan service shot. So again, it's not about quality of the panel, the artistic skill or something like that. No, it's just fan service. To them, that is the make or break on the quality of a manga panel or a manga as itself. Just seeing fan service ruins it for them. And here's the thing. I can already hear people like this responding saying, oh, Rev, you're so weird. Why do you want us to like fan service so bad? Let me clear that up. I don't care that you like or dislike fan service. You're totally entitled to not liking fan service, but the fact that you clearly hate it so much and then still continue to consume things that contain fan service is silly. It's silly. And I think a lot of these people just do this for attention. I don't think it really deep down bothers them that much. And the proof is right here. So, of course, they also shared this infamous cover image from the My Hero Academia manga. It's the invisible girl, actually visible. And we've seen people complaining about this before. And again, it's included in this thread only because it's fan service, not because it's a bad quality shot or anything like that. And as with this user and a lot of people who join in on these threads, I think deep down, a lot of them do actually enjoy this stuff. And what's your proof for that, Rev? Well, it's this. You can see this tweet, 100 comments, right? 1,000 bookmarks. There's 1,000 bookmarks on this tweet. Do you think people are bookmarking this because they dislike it? I think a lot of people secretly do like this. And I think a lot of people, especially in the Zoomer generation, they like fan service too, but they're so afraid of judgment from their peers and looking bad on social media that they have to do all these things in silence. They have to, bookmark it instead of interacting with it and things like that. I mean, it's proof's in the pudding. This is what people are actually interested in. People like fan service. Again, you're entitled to not like fan service. That's totally within your right. But let's not act like that's not something a lot of people enjoy. But moving on, I also saw this. So I saw this thread, and it's discussing a lot of the recent discourse about fan service. And this is actually a very good thread, by the way. I don't want to spend too much time and go through it, but I just want to get the header here. It's a long thread talking about fan service and how it plays into My Dress Up Darling. And it's a really good thread, like I said. But I will do this user a solid and say the next time you want to defend liking fan service, you don't need to make a well-structured thread. All you need to do when asked, why do you like fan service, is to simply reply, because I like it. That's pretty much it. You don't need to defend yourself that hard. If you like fan service, that's all you need to say. But nonetheless, a lot of people got pretty angry about this. There was hundreds of negative quotes on that thread. This user saying, got sent this by a friend that knows my opinions on My Dress Up Darling, And this just really rubs me the wrong way. The fundamental issue with this argument is the fact that the author had to write the series like this. They didn't. There was no reason for this. Yeah, so this whole idea, I see this complaint about fan service all the time, in My Dress Up Darling in particular, where they say things like fan service is just not necessary. There's no reason for this. Well, in My Dress Up Darling, there is reason for it. It's just a part of the plot, if you want to be honest about it. But this idea of fan service never being necessary is just goofy. There's a lot of things in fiction that are not necessary, okay? Is My Dress Up Darling, the story, necessary or needed? No, it's a fictional story that people are sharing and creating to entertain others. It's just like the same argument you could extend the fan service disliking into things like horror. If there's a horror movie, is gore really necessary? Can't you tell a scary story without gore? People don't recognize arguments, or they don't extend their own logic that far, but they do for fan service. They just say it's not necessary, doesn't enhance the plot, even if it does in cases like My Dress Up Darling, but they just dismiss it with that logic that is really flawed. Down here they say, still see so much pushback from people outside of it. And they're talking about people outside of the anime manga scene, right? And that this fan service, and they say it's okay in some regard, right? Fan service, high school settings, and even sexual content within a high school setting, these are things I'm okay with existing and even think should exist, but it comes with a caveat. Now again, narcissism, what is your caveat, Twitter user? When is fan service in a setting like that okay in fictional works? You tell us the caveat to all this and how My Dress Up Darling is an exception to your rule, but whatever other fan service in a high school setting you approve of is okay. It's very confusing. And this idea that these themes are turning off people from outside the anime manga scene, good. Why do you have to cater to people who don't like common themes contained within your medium? There's absolutely no reason to cater to people who dislike these things. You're just caving into them and you're giving them exactly what they want instead of allowing them to go out and find other mediums that they actually enjoy. But nonetheless, that's going to do it for this video. A lot of talk about fan service today, a conversation that Twitter's never ready for, but again, valid to not like fan service, but stop acting like the world needs to revolve around you and censor content that contains fan service so you can enjoy it instead of going out and finding something else that you do enjoy. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.